Food is such a huge part of our lives, right? It's our fuel, it's our comfort, it's medicine, and sometimes, yeah, it's our biggest problem. So today we're going to dig into a really simple but powerful idea. What if getting healthy isn't about some complicated diet, but just about making a few key changes to how we think about our plate? Let's break it down.
So let me start with a question that might sting a little. What if all those comfort foods, the stuff we grew up loving, what if they actually had it all wrong? I know, it's a tough one to think about, but realizing this might just be the most important first step you can take towards a way healthier relationship with food.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got food that gives you energy, that builds you up, that makes you feel great. And on the other, you've got the stuff that can drag you down, make you feel tired, and even lead to bigger problems down the line. It's a perfect picture of how food is this powerful double-edged sword. It can either heal you or hurt you. So where do you even start with all this? Well, the good news is we're not talking about some crazy restrictive diet. It's actually about a few simple, really powerful rules. First up, let's talk about what we should probably be eating less of. And you know what? It all boils down to just 3 things. Seriously, just 3 categories that, if we can just dial them back a bit, can make a huge, huge difference in how we feel. And here they are, the big 3. Sugar, those unhealthy saturated and trans fats, and all those refined flour products, like white bread. Just think of these as the main things that mess with our system. But here's the most important part. You don't have to cut them out completely. The goal here isn't perfection. Just eating less of this stuff is probably the single biggest step you can take for your health. Okay, enough of the don'ts, right? Let's flip this around and talk about all the amazing, delicious things we should be adding more of to our meals. This is the fun part. This is about adding things in, not taking them away. And just like before, the answer here is beautifully simple. It's not a long, complicated list. It's just 3 positive things that kind of complete the whole picture. So the whole idea here is pretty straightforward. Eat more food that looks like it came from a plant, not a factory. We're talking about loading up on fresh fruits and vegetables, choosing whole grains that are packed with fiber, and bringing in more awesome plant-based proteins from things like beans, nuts, and seeds. All right, so we've covered the what to eat, but this is where things get really interesting. Because it turns out that when we eat might be just as important as what we eat. We need to talk about eating right side up. And this quote just nails it. It really points out this huge flaw in how most of us plan our meals. We are literally doing everything backwards for what our bodies actually need throughout the day. And right here, you can see exactly what backwards looks like. The typical day for so many of us is a tiny breakfast, if any, a rushed lunch, and then a giant dinner right before we go crash on the couch. The ideal way? It's to flip that completely. You want to front load your day with energy, to fuel your active hours, not your sleep. So here's the game plan for eating right side up. You start your day with a big protein-packed breakfast that's going to keep you going. Then a decent-sized lunch, again with some good protein and veggies. And then this is key. You finish with a light dinner, something like a salad and some whole grains. That way, your body can rest and repair overnight instead of working overtime digesting a massive meal. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but let's get real. How do you actually put this into practice, like tomorrow morning? So let's run through a few super simple meal ideas to get you started. I get it. Mornings can be total chaos. The idea of a substantial breakfast might sound impossible, but it doesn't have to be. A smoothie is an absolutely fantastic way to cram a ton of nutrition into just a couple of minutes. And the best part is the formula is so simple. You just pick a liquid base, almond milk, whatever you like. You add a scoop of protein powder to keep you full for hours. Then you boost it with healthy fats from ground flax seeds and some awesome antioxidants from something like blueberries. It's fast, you can change it up every day, and it's the perfect protein-heavy start. But hey, maybe you're not a smoothie person. Maybe you want something savory and hot in the morning. No problem. A tofu scramble is another amazing option that totally fits the bill. It's quick, it's really satisfying, and it's full of that energy you need. And it is so easy to make, seriously. You just crumble up some tofu in a pan, toss in some sautéed onions and spinach. For flavor, a little splash of tamari is great, and then add some turmeric. It gives it that nice yellow color and has all these incredible anti-inflammatory benefits. Boom, a hot, filling breakfast in minutes. All right, now let's jump to the other end of the day. We keep saying light dinner, but what does that actually look like? Well, once again, it does not have to be complicated or boring at all. Here are two perfect examples. You could just have some steamed brown rice with some simple steamed veggies like broccoli or zucchini. Easy. Or, even simpler, a big raw salad. Just grate some carrots and beets, throw in some greens, and top it with a simple dressing made of lemon juice and tahini. It's delicious, it's nutritious, and it's perfectly light for the evening. And as we start to wrap this up, it is so important to remember this old saying. Because while all these ideas are fantastic guidelines for pretty much everyone, our bodies are all unique. Our genetics, our culture, our personal tastes, they all matter. The point isn't to follow these rules perfectly, but to use them as a guide to figure out what truly makes you feel your best. So, there it is, a simple blueprint for changing your health, one meal at a time. The power is, quite literally, on your plate. So the only real question left is, what's the one small change you're going to make today? Something to think about. Thanks so much for hanging out with me.